Next stage, a man looking for trouble. What can you see beyond the darkness?
When you look beyond the darkness, tell me, what do you see? It's your boy T-I-N-Y to the P. Yeah, he's looking for trouble here on twitch.tv with Crash or Jade or Spyro or Leon Kennedy. Is there a new game to start? Is he doing some art? Maybe knowledge of an 80s children's show to impart? Cause he's pentiferous, vigorous, rigorous. He's damn vociferous. When arting or Mario Karting, he's straight carnivorous. Tiny Peter. Tiny Peter.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
With a great rate of save states debating his fate, Peter's greeted by emote of cheaters when people donate. Give him a or a and we'll build up the hype, and I'll struggle to read half the words that you type. So are you ready to go? Come on, what will it be? Are we gaming or painting or watching dated kids TV? Grab a bite, crack a sprite, dim the lights, sit tight, cause the stream's about to start and the mics sound right, boy. Tiny Peter. Tiny Peter.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Boy.
Address on screen again at the end there. Oh, spoilers! I should have started on this one, shouldn't I? I didn't think about that. Hello! The real spooks are the technical headaches I have to go through every year to set this up. Welcome, everyone, to the exciting Halloween watch-along we do year on year at this point. This is at least... Is this the third time I've done it? Yes, I think it is. I think I've done... This will be the fourth Christmas one in December, but this is the third Halloween one. One of them is still available on the VODs channel, I believe. I got a bit confused.
Friendly Ghost.
Oh, Friendly Ghost.
3.
Oh my good grief. 3, 2, 1. My video's a bit blown out as well, isn't it? Goodness. There's all sorts going on here. I actually messed with that earlier and brightened it, and I seem to have massively overdone it. So let's... Oh, yeah. Moody. Let's put the
Friendly Ghost.
There we go. That's a bit more.
Oh yeah.
Spooky.
Here we go. It's a spooky Monday night, and you know what that means. It's a live stream with the legend himself, Tiny Peter Rostin. Hello TP. How are you? How was your weekend? Very excited for today's stream. Excellent job on the new worst games ever. Hope you are having a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. I'll just finish. What was I saying? Yes, it's a Halloween watch-along stream today. I see lots of people in the chat, which is very exciting. Hello to various names that I feel like I might not have seen for a little while, at least on Mondays. Also, it's GMT in the UK now. We switched the clocks on the weekend just gone. So it's pitch black outside. Perfect for watching unnerving dated kids TV, as the intro to the streams promise year round, and we only actually have it twice a year. But this is one of those times. We are watching dated kids TV, and we're going to have a frightening evening together. I'm very excited. I've been looking forward to this for ages. So thank you very much to Matt Jadith Evans, who's saying 3 with 100 bits. I'm still trying to work out what
Friendly
that
Ghost
is. Does the Tat Appeal close in 3 weeks? 4th, 11th, 18th. Yes, I think the Tat Appeal closes on there. I can
Friendly Ghost
soon find out by.
Next stage.
There we go. Scrub through that. Both of them playing at the same time. Probably blew your ears out there. Sorry about that. Both of them played at the same time. Tat Appeal and SMTJ. But yes, if you didn't know, Tat Appeal is open. Deadline is 18th of November. So please get things sent in by then if you wish to, and there's no pressure to do so. And also, SMTJ is happening. It's very exciting. That's Saturday morning TripleJump. We did it last year. It's a big live Saturday morning event on an actual Saturday where we do sort of kids TV adjacent things. And you can get involved. And if you're a patron of a certain tier, you already will have had things added to the tier that you're already paying for. So just head over to Patreon. There are posts on there telling you everything that has perhaps been added to your tier already, if you're already on Patreon. Or you can see all of the stuff available by heading to triplejump.mp/SMTJ.
Friendly Ghost.
If you're not a patron.
Here we go. Annual reliving of childhood trauma time. Happy almost spook time, everyone to Jivvy.
So you can get involved in the show in various ways. So please do, make use of your treats and extras that have been added at no extra cost if you're already a patron. Hype Train is leaving the station. Choo choo. Thank you to everyone contributing today. So yes, thanks once again, Matt Jadith Evans, for the 100. We're only 3 away. What could it be? It does happen to fall on, I believe, the 18th of November. That countdown. 4th will be 2. 11th will be 1. So presumably the 18th will be 0 on the day. So is it Tat related? Is it? I don't know what it is, but we'll find out very soon. It might be nothing. It'll be the huge anticlimax, and that was the friends made along the way, or the real treasure, or whatever it is. Stephen, thank you for the bits. I'm glad you enjoyed Worst Games Ever, and I've had a very nice weekend. Thank you. Just chilling, pretty much. Had a lovely time. Thank you very much to Scarf of Jericho, who subscribed. Boo! Oh yeah, resub time. Hello TP, how are you? Did I scare you just then? Yes, you did. Don't worry, I'm not an actual ghost, or am I? Well, that's what an actual ghost would say if they were trying to be undercover. So, a ghost writer, perhaps. Louis J. Webber's in the chat. Hello, good to see you. Stephen Skoda says, gifted a sub to Louis J. Webber, 1,298. Stephen is very close to 1,300. It's one of the scarier numbers. And we got Trillion Jones with 100 bits. Here we go. And you're reliving a childhood trauma time. Happy almost spook time to everyone. Thank you, Trillion Jones, for your bits there. And then D Lodge is in the chat there. Oh goodness. I thought I read half of that and I thought it was going to be a really heartwarming, no pun intended. I thought it was going to be a really, I'll read it. I wasn't sure. Sometimes you see messages like that and you have to do a quick skim read before you say it out loud. Hey Peter Morris fan, I wasn't sure about mentioning this, but when my mum had her heart attack in July, we had been watching a previous spooky watch along which featured a lot of Nosy Bonk. I'm not necessarily saying Nosy Bonk was the cause, but it is a fact that he was on the TV when it happened. For those who sent messages of support, she's doing completely fine, by the way. Well, D-Lodge, I'm glad to hear she's doing okay. When I read half of that message, it looked like it was going to be the kind of message we're fortunate to have received various times over the years from people who say things like, when such and such was ill, or when I was laid up in hospital, or whatever, I watched your stream or I watched your video and it really, entertained me or whatever. No, you're literally saying that Nosy Bonk may have caused your mum's heart attack, and in a way, I may have caused your mum's heart attack. Well, sorry if I did, but I have to share the scares with the world, and it's difficult for us all. I'm glad she's doing completely fine. Thank you for your message. Millsderp, Order 66. I have an Order 66 to execute. Look at you, 66 months subscribed. Goodness me, thank you very much. I don't think I said that Scarf of Jericho was on 40 months as well, so that's a little milestone. And then Timmy Whiff has gifted a sub to glitchmode_, taking Timmy Whiff to 39 gift subs. on the channel so far. On your way to 40. Very exciting. The hype train is building up on its level 2. And now, at long last, because I can see that some people have turned up today who perhaps wouldn't be at every stream, which is fine, and maybe they're waiting for me to get on with the spooks. So thank you to those of you who may have popped in on today's stream for this special occasion. I will get to it almost immediately. Coolie Wooly says, what British horrors is TP going to introduce us non-British Walrus Clan members? Well, not all of it. Well, maybe it is all British today. I know historically I have done a lot of British stuff, but not exclusively. I don't necessarily intend for it always to be British, but I guess that's just the stuff I'm naturally going to be aware of and therefore be prepared to bring along. But it is all British, minus perhaps one thing, which I don't know the origins of. So, hey, let's get going, shall we? I am going to watch... I'm going to start with... we've got a couple of things that are fairly lengthy. I'm going to... Let's get going. I'm going to start it immediately. We're going to watch the first half of one of the longer pieces straight away. As soon as GUI Goliath...
Friendly Ghost!
Thank you, GUI Goliath. 726 gift subs. They've gone to Lina_R and Hard Pressed Ham. Thank you very much, GUI Goliath. You've been a long-time gifter there. It's much appreciated. It has been
Friendly
appreciated over
Ghost.
the months and years. And Dr. Goblin as well with 100 bits. Toot toot. All aboard the spooky hype train. Peter, what's something you don't find scary that others just can't stand? For me, I love puppet work,
Friendly
like in the Dark
Ghost.
Crystal and the like, but so many of my
Toot
friends...
toot, all aboard the spooky
I
hype
forgot
train.
that she would read it.
Peter, what's something you don't find scary that others just can't stand? For me, I love puppet work like in the Dark Crystal and the like, but so many friends of mine just can't stand the uncanny valley nature of them.
I love puppet work.
Friendly Ghost.
Stevens goes with 2 more gift subs. He's hit that 13. Goodness me. Hoots Force Photography and Ravenbird 8 gain subs there. We'll never get to the watching today because people are
Friendly
being too
Ghost.
generous, and the hype train's almost filled up level 2. A tiny little push from anyone who's able, and we'll fill it up. We're at 96%. Very exciting. Thank you, Stephen, for your 1300th gift sub, which is bonkers. And of course 13, unlucky for some, but not unlucky for us here at TripleJump, because Steven Skodes has given 1300 subs. Thank you very much indeed. What a milestone. Yes, I love puppet work. I think it's interesting. I like the almost sort of tactile nature to it. You can just see that it's so much nicer than looking at CG or even classic animation, which I do love as well. I do love traditional hand-drawn animation too, especially when it's done in some of the styles we're going to be looking at today.
Friendly Ghost.
Something else we'll be looking at today, a lot of stop motion and claymation. It's not always claymation. Sometimes stop motion is done with like armature things with like rubber skins around them. It's not always clay, but yeah, I love stop motion of any kind. Yeah, puppet work's great too. I believe the Dark Crystal, some of the puppetry or puppeteering of the Dark Crystal Returns, or whatever it was called, that Netflix spin-off they did. Some of the puppet work there was done by Dave Chapman, the man who did the neighbour's cat from Dick and Dom in the Bungalow, and various other puppets over the years. He did BB-8 and stuff as well. And Hard Pressed Ham, thank you for chatting. I'm glad you enjoy all of our videos. Welcome to the chat and welcome to the Walrus Clan. Thanks to your gift sub. And Dr. Goblin with a gift sub to Josh X Bailey. That's the 12th gift sub you've given. Thank you very much indeed. And that has knocked us over into level 3 of the hype train. Now, those of you who thought we were about to hit play about 5 minutes ago, I'm about to hit play. I'm not going to do any more introduction. We'll start watching this. Some of you may have watched this before. This is probably one of the slightly more well-known. In fact, that's not true. Lots of the stuff we're looking at today is actually semi-well-known, and some of it isn't. But this is kind of in the middle. But you'll certainly be aware of the source material. Hey, so let's head on over to my spooky gravestone and my big CRT TV, which is not quite 4x3 dimensions because we're looking at a couple of things that are 16:9 today, but mostly 4x3, classic old square television footage we'll be looking at. Ladies and gents, I give you the stop motion 1980 version of
Friendly Ghost.
Friendly Ghost.
Boo.
Boo. Thank you very much, Forgotten Media, for the bits. Oh, already I love it. It's almost, this looks like it's going to be Christmassy, doesn't it? But it's not. It's going to be spooky, a little bit. It's going to be uncanny and unnerving. And yeah, that wonky music. I don't know when the title card's going to come up. This is the 1980 stop-motion version of The Pied Piper of Hamlet. One of the creepier characters in sort of folklore and legend, I would say. Oh, look at that orange frame in the corner that I've just been sitting there the whole time that I've not noticed. I'm going to get rid of that. Don't need that. It's gone. Well, this gives me a chance. I don't know when he's going to start reading, but this gives me a chance to say what we're doing today. We are, of course, watching some spooky old kids' TV. Everything here that we're watching today, I believe everything is rated PG or younger. It's all for kids and families. The Pied Piper of Hamlet. Now, we were gonna, in the past, when I've done Christmas watch-alongs, we have on a couple of occasions watched an entire series of something. We've done the Box of Delights, we've done The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. I nearly did that this year for one of the things we're going to watch a clip of today. But in the end I thought, let's have the variety. Let's have a mixed bag, you know? So we're starting with some... and look at that. Look, I love the little artifacts and stuff. The film grain. We're watching one thing today. In fact, it's this, actually. This is the one that we're watching today that has been allegedly AI remastered.
Hamlin Towns in Brunswick,
I have mixed
famous
thoughts
Hanover
about that.
City. The river Weser, deep and wide, washes its wall on the southern side, a pleasanter spot you never spied. But when begins my ditty, almost 500 years ago, to see the townsfolk suffer so, from vermin, was a pity.
Let's turn it down a bit. I've turned it down. Is that too quiet?
They fought the dogs and killed the cats and bit the babies in the cradles
Oh.
and ate the cheeses out of the vats and licked the soup from the cook's own ladles, split open the kegs of salted sprats, made nests inside men's Sunday hats,
Oh.
and even spoiled the women's chats by
Not the
drowning
women's
their speech
chats.
with shrieking and squeaking in 50 different shops.
How
and
will they
flats.
chat? Let me know if I've made it too quiet now by turning it down. The effort to frame by frame move every single one of these rats is, I mean, God, must have taken a while. Why all the rat hate? This is Cooley Woolly. Today, I think by the end of today's stream, you will at least hate foxes, which I could never hate, even after what we're going to see today. You'll hate stop motion characters in general. You'll probably hate human beings, I think. So, we'll see. It's just the one rat, actually. There's another good stop motion Pied Piper of Hamlet. I believe it's Hungarian? When it turns out to not be Hungarian, but some other European country, then that sort of comes across as quite ignorant and reductive of me, doesn't it? To have not known which of the European countries it was. I'll find out. Pied Piper stop motion while you guys watch the chaos caused by these rats. Oh, that's the one. 1986. Oh, it's Czechoslovakian. Well, at least that nation no longer exists, so I've not specifically offended one nation. If anything, I've offended two nations because it's now been divided. But hey, Yeah. So there's a Czechoslovakian version of the Pied Piper, which is stop motion, and it's similarly eerie. But as someone said in the chat earlier,
At last the people
the rhyme,
in a body to the town hall
it's
came
a little bit
flocking.
creepier.
'Tis clear, cried they, our mares are noddy. And as for our corporation, shocking to think we buy gowns lined with ermine for dolts that can't or won't determine what's best to rid us of our vermin. You hope because you're old and obese to find in the furry civic robies. Rouse up, sirs. Give your brains a racking to find the remedy we're lacking, or sure as fate we'll send you packing.
I mean, I take for granted.
At this, the mayor and corporation quaked with a mighty
The faces of all these characters, because I know what the Piper looks like and the way he behaves, and so I'm thinking ahead of like how uncanny it can get. But actually, a lot of these guys, you know, kind of creepy. My wife in particular does not like stop motion, generally speaking, or claymation. I think the line that she would draw is Aardman, Wallace and Gromit. You know, she wouldn't go much further than that. She would hate this for sure. I watched The Secret Adventures of Tom Thumb. We watched a clip of that at the tail end of the previous Halloween watch-along, which arguably is actually not specifically for kids. It's actually quite a sort of violent and graphic and art house, strange claymation thing, which I've tried to avoid this year. That sort of thing, you know, stuff that's actually aimed at older people, even though it has maybe a fairy tale source material. But yeah, she was not happy when she walked into the room when I was watching The Secret Adventures of Tom Thumb. And who can blame her? Trapdoor. See, people ask me a lot about Trapdoor, Timmy Whiff. I've not watched a lot of Trapdoor. I've seen a couple of clips of it, but I've not watched a great deal. So, if you're not following, the council are trying to work out how they're going to get rid of these rats.
At length, the mayor broke silence.
I don't know how they're going to do it.
For a guilder I'd my ermine gown sell. I wish I were a mile hence. It's easy to bid one rack one's brain. I'm sure my poor head aches again. I've scratched it so, and all in vain. Oh, for a trap, a trap, a trap. Just as he said this, what should hap at the chamber door but a gentle tap?
Uh-oh.
Bless us, cried the mayor, what's that?
Hide your kids, hide your wife, literally hide your kids. The Pied Piper's about to enter the room.
Nor brighter was his eye, nor moister than a too long.
I should watch Trapdoor. I know I should. I know I would enjoy it. I've just never got around to it.
Green and glutinous. Only a scraping of shoes on the mat. Anything like the sound of a rat makes my heart go pitter-pat. Come in, the mayor cried, looking bigger.
Uh-oh.
And in did come the strangest figure.
Ooh.
His queer long coat from heel to head
Can't say that.
was half of yellow and half of red, and he himself was tall and thin, with sharp blue eyes, each like a pin.
Oh!
With light, loose hair, yet swarthy skin, no tuft on cheek nor beard on chin, but lips where smiles went out and in. There was no guessing his kith and kin, and nobody could enough admire the tall man and his quaint attire. Quoth one, "It's as my great-grandsire, starting up at the trump of Doomstone and walked this way."
He's eating the rats, isn't he?
Tombstone.
They're
He
eating the
advanced to
rats.
the
They're
council
eating the
table,
cats.
And, "Please, your honors," said he, "I'm able, by means of a secret charm, to
With his
draw
really
all
long nose.
creatures living beneath the sun that creep or swim or fly or run after me, so as you never saw. and I chiefly use my charm on creatures that do people harm.
Look at his fingers.
The mole and toad and newt and viper. And people call me the Pied Piper.
Pied Piper. He's so...
And here
Because
they
he's
noticed
almost...
round his neck.
I won't do much of this
A
today. I know
scarf
I have
of
a
red-
history of pausing these things while we're watching them. He's almost quite, angelic, and he's quite elfin. And if he was introduced in a different context, looked exactly like that, but he was, if he was in the Never-Ending Story, and he was like the goal was to like get to the lovely pipe man who will save the world, and they finally reached it. They're dying and goblins are eating them, and then great light shines and this exact man walks out, and the lovely pipe man has come to save them. You could take that, but I think that's kind of what makes him so unnerving. It is that uncanny valley kind of the juxtaposition of, he's got that smile on his face, and we know what he's going to do as well, It's all very sinister.
And yellow stripe to match with his coat of the self-same check.
Yeah, he is quite dark crystal.
And at the scarf's end hung a pipe. And his fingers, they noticed, were ever straying, as if impatient to be playing upon this pipe, as low it dangled over his vesture so old-fangled.
I really love the actual script
Poor
of this
piper
thing
as
as
I
well.
am, in Tartary I freed the cham last June from his huge swarms of gnats. I eased in Asia the Nizam of a monstrous brood of vampire bats. And as for what your brain bewilders, if I can rid your town of rats, will you give me 1,000 guilders?
1,000 guilders?
50,000 was the exclamation of the astonished man corporation.
Oh, look at him. He's doing his Fortnite emotes. There he goes. Oh, lovely. $50,000. He soon gets to work. He doesn't mess about. Straight out into the street.
Into the street the piper stepped,
Indeed.
smiling first a little smile.
So
as
we'll
if he
stop
knew
halfway
what
through
magic
this
slept in his quiet pipe
And watch
for a
something
while.
else, and then we'll come back
Then, like a
to
musical
see whether he gets his
adept,
money.
to blow the pipe his lips he wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled, like a candle flame where salt is sprinkled. And ere 3 shrill notes the pipe uttered,
5 notes, actually. He plays 5 notes. Oh, God, these rats are awful. Oh, God.
you heard as if an army muttered. The muttering grew to a grumbling, and the grumbling grew to a mighty rumbling, and out of the houses the rats came tumbling.
It's really nicely written, this thing.
Great rats, small rats,
And delivered.
lean rats, brawny rats, brown rats, black rats, grey rats, tawny rats, grave old plodders, gay young friskers, fathers, mothers, uncles, cousins, cocking tails and pricking whiskers, families by tens and dozens, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, followed the piper for their lives.
Really nice meter to
From
it.
street to street he piped advancing, and step for step they followed dancing.
There he goes. It's such a... I don't know, it's an iconic image, isn't it? The Pied Piper and his rats. Good for Hamlin, the town of Hamlin, that they
Until they came to the river Visa,
have had such an effect on...
wherein all plunged and perish.
Western culture. There they go. Drowning them.
Save one who, stout as Julius Caesar, swam across and lived to carry, as he, the manuscript he cherished, to Ratland home his commentary.
You went and told people in Ratland what happened. Rats are good swimmers,
Which
but...
was at the first shrill notes of the pipe,
Oh,
I heard a sound as of scraping tripe, and putting apples wondrous ripe into a cider press's gripe, and a moving away of pickled tub boards, and a leaving a jar of conserve cupboards, and a drawing the corks of train oil flasks, and a breaking the hoops of butter casks. And it seemed as if a voice, sweeter far than by harp or by psaltery, is breathed, called out, "Oh, rats, rejoice! The world is grown to one vast rice
what's
saltery.
going on?
So munch on, crunch on, take your nunch on, breakfast, supper, dinner, lunch on." And just as a bulky sugar puncheon already staved like a great sun shone, glorious scarce an inch before me, just as methought it said, "Come, bore me," I found the Vaser rolling o'er me.
Toot! Big money Bobby Vegas. They were sort of dreaming of food and delicious things, and then they snapped out of it, and they were in the river Vaser. That's what happens when the piper plays for you. Look at him. What a horrid man. But I mean, you know, he's not a villain. Well, I was gonna say he's not a villain. He's a morally grey character. All he wanted, if they'd paid him, spoilers. But that's where we leave it. He has a little rest under a tree, I believe. And we'll come back to it later. But spoilers for those who don't know, he's not going to get his money. You know, being pissed off about it, and going to do something about it. You know. We'll pause that there, and we'll be back to Hamlin shortly. There we go. That's the beginnings of today's stop motion horrors. We have a single piece of live action, fully live action stuff, which we could maybe watch now. That might be a nice little break from, you know, the 16 minutes of stop motion we've just watched. So this is the show, what I'm about to play now. It's the show that I was originally thinking of just streaming in full, like I've done, as I say, for the Box of Delights, Chronicles of Narnia. It was going to be just a Halloween stream where we watched the full series of what I'm about to show you. However, I think, as you'll see, maybe 2.5 hours of this would have been a bit too much. That's to say nothing against the show. If you enjoy it in your own time from the comfort of your sofa, preferably with a slightly higher quality rip than I've got here. It's available on DVD, I believe. Then you'll probably have a great time with it, and I would highly recommend it. I've watched it in full, but this is a snippet from the very first episode, in fact, the very beginning of the very first episode of The Children of the Stones, 1976. This was filmed in the village of Avebury in Wiltshire. I've been there. Which is genuinely a village built inside the largest stone circle in Europe, possibly in the world? Question mark. Really big stone circle, which has some of a village inside it. But this is a very flipping heck, it's loud, isn't it? This is a kind of an infamous series. partly known for it. Literally, I'm not even joking. It's partly known for its creepy opening titles. So that's an aerial shot of Avebury there. It's filmed on location, and it's all about the sort of the mystery of megaliths, stone circles and things, and the pre-Roman religion of Britain. Yeah, this sound would have crept me out back in the day. Yeah, same font as Father Ted credits, that's true. But it couldn't be further from Father Ted. In fact, to make the Christian comparison, talk about Father Ted, this is it's like a children's version of, although it's quite frightening and traumatized a lot of 1970s children, but a children's version of The Wicker Man. It has a lot of similar vibes to it, and you'll pick those up immediately. If you're at all familiar with the original version of The Wicker Man, you will get some sense of that from the very start of this. You'll see where the parallels are. But anyway, here we go. Whole series is on YouTube, yeah, that's right. Not in the sharpest of quality, but
pretty phantasmagorical. Pretty what?
That's Silbury Hill there. I've been there too. I went down to this area for my 30th birthday. We went to Stonehenge, went to Silbury Hill. That's one of the largest. Looks like a hill, doesn't it? But that hill was made by men and women. It's an ancient earthwork, and it's massive. It's really big. It's that big that you just assume it must be a natural feature, but it was built by Neolithic man. Impressive stuff. Anyway, I was speaking over the first line, so let me just track back a little. Here we go.
There's the hill.
Pretty phantasmagorical.
Pretty what?
Pretty phantasmagorical, with an F, which means more fantastic than fantastic.
Rubbish, it's PH, as in phantasmagoria, a series of illusions or phantoms.
This is Gareth Thomas, the dad, who was in Blake's 7, a sci-fi show from the 70s, which I really love.
There's the avenue.
The Milbury Stones. The books say they were erected about 3000 BC.
Erected?
Even earlier.
So they're older than Stonehenge?
Probably. By the time Stonehenge was completed, people have been worshipping here for 1,000 years or more.
Worshipping what?
The sun, maybe?
It's called Milbury in this.
Here's the circle.
Was a village inside it. Scary.
Fictionalized version of Avebury.
Not known anybody.
We soon will.
Suppose they all turn out to be nutters. Do we have to stay the whole 3 months?
Yes, we do. If I don't complete my research, the university's going to want their grant back. Unless we've already spent half of it.
It's going to get creepy immediately.
Dad, stop!
Oh, God, it's such a... Let's just see that again.
Dad, stop!
Weird, isn't it? It's a stone, and then it's an old lady, and then it goes, oh.
Once again, Mrs. Crabtree, I'm very sorry. I just didn't see you.
Never mind, sir. No harm done.
We didn't expect to be met.
Oh, it was Sterndrick's idea, sir. He thought you might not find us so easily.
That's very kind of him.
You're right, Dr.
And
Mundy.
you.
No trouble, sir. After all, if we didn't have you here, I'd have no one to look after, would I?
True.
By the way, sir, this stuff arrived yesterday. I told the men to leave it where it is for the time being.
1, 2, 3. Yes, it's all present.
No damage, is there, sir? China, would it be? Or glass?
No, Mrs. Crabtree, not china. All glass.
Oh. Well, you'll be wanting your tea, I expect. And some of my chocolate cake.
I've never known you refuse an offer like that before.
It's so 70s,
Oh, yes,
isn't
please.
it? The hairdos, his
You're getting used to
t-shirt.
it. Oh, Matt, go and get the rest of the cases in the car, will you, so I keep this lot?
It's not really a t-shirt, it's got tiny sleeves, about an inch long. A girl.
Dad?
Yes, what is it?
Oh, nothing. I'll get the cases.
A lot of that music just throughout the series.
Oh, I'm sorry. Magnetometer.
No doubt.
An instrument for measuring magnetic fields.
They definitely have an avocado bathroom here, yeah.
A magnetic field is a field of force that surrounds a magnet.
Oh, you've got no magnets here.
That's where you're wrong, Mrs. Crabtree.
Oh, we got no magnets here. Oh, you're bringing your fancy... I suppose maybe people didn't necessarily have magnets knocking around in rural 70s Britain. I don't know. Not sure. Avocado bathrooms. We had an avocado bath suite when I was growing up, and that was in the 90s. I guess it had just never been replaced since the late 70s. I don't know. Maybe it was still... I guess it was probably still slightly fashionable in sort of the 80s, but yeah. I remember we had an avocado bathtub.
At least 53. The stones, the standing stones. Each one a source of great magnetic power.
The stones? I never heard that. How do you know?
It's my job.
Well, the stones. So you've come to measure our stones. Well, I never.
Shall I show her the picture, Dad?
Yes, good idea. See if one of the locals recognizes it.
Mrs. Crabtree, come and look at this.
Uh-oh.
Good Lord, Mrs. Crabtree.
Mrs. Crabtree.
Thank you, mate.
Checked her pulse. She's not dead.
I imagine that was just the effect the artist was after.
Oh, he's just going to carry on pouring the tea. He's pop some milk in. She'll be fine, will she? All right. Oh.
Hardly an auspicious start to your tenancy, Professor Brick.
Mr. Hendrick?
Just so.
Brought
It's
her
a good
back
time
to
for the
life.
landlord to appear. Have we another pot, Mrs. Crabtree?
Oh, yes, sir.
Well then, if you've quite recovered.
A tea for three, please, Mrs. Crabtree.
Indeed. Good 1970s values. She has just passed out, but if you're feeling... If you can stand, go and make another cup of tea. That's, that's fine. It's absolute... It's not fine. We no longer, hopefully, most of us no longer live that way.
And I rather think you could do with a cup yourself.
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, that's something. Offered her a cup.
Happy days, sir.
Happy day, sir.
Now, what was all that about?
That.
So that just gives you a flavour of what Children of the Stones was like. And that really was a kids' TV series for kids. Let me find the... It's quite hard to make out, but you can see there's a giant snake kind of coming out like that, coming out of the stones. So it's all, as you can probably guess, the whole series, which is, I think is 4 parts or 6 parts or something. It's 2.5, or maybe it's 5. I think it's 2.5 hours in total of half-hour segments. It's about kind of essentially pagan religion in this village out in the countryside. The stones are kind of a bit magical, and that choir are basically just singing all the way through the series. Very eerie, based on a series of books, I believe. It frightened a lot of young boys and girls of the 1970s, and is considered a bit of a cult classic today for people who are in the sort of hauntological world, as you call it, which is a kind of a movement where people are, very fond of this kind of thing. So there we go. That's just, as I say, a flavour for the Children of the Stones. You might want to go and watch it in your own time. It's all available on YouTube in slightly grainy quality. I'm probably at some point going to get myself the DVD. Why don't we now watch a little bit more stop motion, but not more Pied Piper just yet? We're going to watch... Which one of these is... Should I watch the longer one? I've got... Or a shorter one. I've got one that is sort by duration. Oh, I don't know how long this one is. It doesn't say. Let me just start it and then pause it immediately. This is 9 minutes long, and this one is 20 minutes long. Well, perhaps let's watch some of this, and perhaps pause. We'll see how we're getting on. We'll start watching this. This is The Web, 1987. Also based on books, based on the Gormenghast books, which some of you may or may not be familiar with. Gormenghast was a series of novels, trilogy, I believe, written by Mervyn Peake. And it's a strange... I've not read them, but I'd like to. They're this... It's sort of a bizarre, gothic fantasy series about the inhabitants of Castle Gormenghast, a sprawling, decaying gothic structure. Now, this isn't ever... I don't think this is ever referred to as being a Gormenghast animation, but that is what it is based on. So this is just a small... it's an animated short. A pretty horrid-looking one. Oh yeah, there was a 90s adaptation, says Trowling Badger. You're right. And Ed Hoyk says they're great books. I would like to read them. They sound right up my street, but again, something I've not got around to doing. But yeah, The Web is a sort of I think it's claymation, or stop motion anyway, short, based on the kind of the world of Gormenghast, and I think a sort of a central plot point of the first book or something is kind of played out in this short. I think it's all made pretty... There's no speech in this. There's just sort of mumbling and grumbling. I think it's all pretty well illustrated without dialogue. But in case it's not, I'll kind of talk us through it as we go. But here we go. This is The Web. And just aesthetically is terrifying. No matter... Even if they all just danced around and played games for the next 20 minutes, you will be frightened. I promise you. You can like smell it from here, can't you? How to fly, wings, Icarus. I, Flay, guard the sick and nervous Earl in his chamber in Gormenghast. Okay, there's a reference to Gormenghast. Every wall is musty with decay, but my toils will preserve the once proud earldom. Swelter, my enemy, may boil and bake and bow and scrape, but his plotting never stops. So Flay is this sort of butler-looking man. The Earl is in bed, reading a book about Icarus wings, and Swelter is down below. We'll see Swelter shortly. Oh, arachnophobics beware. There's a few spidery-looking things in this. I'm already frightened, says Mr. Black. These look horrid, says Jax. Yeah, I can smell the mustiness, forgotten media. All the wrinkles, yeah. Oh, the crunching. Turn it up a bit, because Children of the Stones is quite loud, I think. There's a bit more audio from this. Oh, God. Lovely creepy crawly animation there. That's too loud. I think we're about to meet Swelter, who's arguably the most horrid looking of the three. So you've seen nothing yet. Swelter is the chef, the cook. Oh! He's halved the spider, and both of them are moving. There he is! He reminds me a lot. Oh, God. Just a turkey wandering around in the kitchen. It's not going to last long, is it? It's quite sort of early. Well, not necessarily early, but it's slightly kind of rudimentary stop motion. You can see all the imperfections, and that's what really gives it that. Oh, it's just so grimy. And that's what I love about stop motion and claymation in particular, where you can see people's fingerprints in the clay. But you know, all the little stray threads of these characters and the lightings, you know, kind of horrid. It's absolutely the right level of gross weirdness. I love it, says Trowling Badger. Yeah. This is Flay, who's been looking after the Earl, and he knows that Swelter
Friendly ghost
wants the Earl dead. He's testing all the food, I think. Rare Reeves, subscribed for 3 months now on a 3-month streak. Happy spooky month sub. Been watching the YouTube since I was in high school, and now I'm 26. Oh my goodness me. Oh, did we just see Swelter's ass? Has he got his ass out there? He got a little bit of crack on show. Thank you for the sub there. Let's get another look at this. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Everything's so grubby. It all just sort of can't even tell what's fabric and what's flesh. The mumbling is... That's really unnerving. And the kind of the echoing and... Oh, there's more spiders. The Earl I find really kind of creepy as well. He's just sort of... It's like a little... Oh, you know, he's like Creature from Harry Potter or something, or not even that. He's more wafy than that. He's kind of, oh, I don't know what it is about him. My chat's reconnecting. Hopefully the stream's still connected. It says it is. Yeah, I think we're good. Oh no, spider's coming. Is it going to kill him? The Earl is very sort of weak and... Oh no, he's hiding. Oh, there's loads of spiders. Flay's not doing his job. I love the extreme body differences and distortions, like the long fingers and slightly wrong proportions, yeah. Oh god. Oh, he's just popping out the window. That's nice. Oh, the Earl tried to jump. He really wants to fly. He really, really wants his Icarus wings. Now he's had his food brought for him. It's so atmospheric. It's good. Oh! Look at it! Look at his face. Look at the cook's face right now. Horrific. He also just poured something into that drink. Not quite sure what's going on, but they all definitely respawn when the player rests at a bonfire. Yeah, it is very sort of Soulsborne aesthetic, isn't it? You can imagine there's all sorts going on outside in the street right now. Yeah. Oh. Oh. The nervous side eye. Let's see that again. He didn't even move his head. He just sort of... tried to kill him. He's chasing him down the stairs. Surely just get another cook in. Sort of putting up with this, but... God, the grumbling. The mumbling and grumbling. Come on, Earl. Into bed. Nope on this show, says Cooley Wooly. Chip Thompson's thumbs, you're right. Little Nightmares vibes. Yeah, I was trying to remember what I was saying before. Swelter reminds me of the chef from Little Nightmares. I mean, the whole thing is quite Little Nightmares-esque. any one of these characters or creatures or scenes could be Little Nightmares, and that's what I love about it. Something I really actually would have liked to have shown today, or even just clips from it. I've recently been enjoying the work of, or what are they called? Jean-Pierre Jeunet and Marc Caro. They perhaps most famous for their work on. They did Amélie, which some of you may have seen, but they did two other films. Well, they did several other films, but two in particular: The City of Lost Children and Delicatessen. I've seen both of those recently. They're both French. They're done in French. You have to watch with subtitles. Like, love them. Absolutely love them aesthetically. Huge Little Nightmares crossover, particularly with City of Lost Children, because it was actually a source of inspiration for Tarsier, who made Little Nightmares. And I can't recommend them enough. In the UK, if you've got ITVX, you can watch both of those on ITVX. So Delicatessen and The City of Lost Children. From the outside, you might read about them and read the synopsis and also think, oh, it's in a different language. Is this worth? I'm going to be able to keep up with this, or I don't know about the story. The story is almost kind of irrelevant. It's a bit like this. This is a very simple story. It's about a cook who wants to kill the Earl, a guy who's defending him. It's straightforward. I'm not saying the stories of the films I'm talking about are simple, but what I'm saying is the story is almost irrelevant because it's it's sort of art house, isn't it? It's very much, it's as much about the aesthetics, the imagery, sometimes the metaphor involved. So yeah, I'm not sure where or how you can watch them in other parts of the world, but if you can watch, if you like maybe this kind of thing for its aesthetics as much as anything else, then, and Little Nightmares as well, if you like the look of that and the feel of that, I couldn't recommend enough Delicatessen and The City of Lost Children. I've never seen Amélie. I imagine it's probably a bit less kind of out there compared to those other two films, but I should give it a go at some point. Is the Earl supposed to be old or young? I can't tell. Jax, that's never occurred to me, actually. I always assumed he was really old and kind of withering away, but he could be very young. I mean, again, that's kind of what's creepy about it. Oh, it's a bread chef. He was hiding, waiting for him to strike. Oh God! It's all coming to a head now. They're fighting. Oh, nice tricks. Oh, it was unintentional, I think. I've never actually seen The Nightmare Before Christmas, this Forgotten Media. Yeah, I've seen that once a long time ago. Oh, the Earl's still alive. He's not been crushed. Oh, and now he's being left unattended. What's he gonna do? I'm not sure he's normally allowed out of his room. He's going for a little explore. The mouth is so upsetting, I do not like the tongue. Yeah, it's not good, is it? It's not good. Oh, they're the spiders. More spiders. The eyes kind of give me a child vibe. Curiosity, yeah. But then he's got like wispy ear hair, hasn't he? It's kind of white hair. It's a weird mixture. I mean, I'm sure actually you could find out. I mean, sometimes it's nice to just leave these things up to interpretation, but if you looked up the age of the Earl in the Gormenghast books, you would be able to. It's probably alluded to at some point in the series, whether he's an old Earl or a
Friendly
young Earl.
ghost.
Sprout Stuff subscribed. Thank you very much indeed. 69 months. Very, very nice. Congratulations on having the weed number of months on your subscription there. Thank you, Sprout Stuff, for being with us all that time. Is the Earl a captive? That's why he's fixated on escaping like Icarus. I think he's sort of a captive for... I think Flay justifies it in his mind as keeping him captive for his own safety. Now, whether that's okay, whether it's alright to keep people captive for their own safety, I mean, sometimes it is. But, you know, clearly he's enjoying having some time out of his room. Fighting now. It's a duel of the fates. Depending on who wins. Oh god! The Earl may or may not make it. Oh! That was horrid. That's just to, you know, really punish you all. Let's see that again. No! He made a sheep noise. So what are we watching, says Sprout Stuff. This is The Web, which is a stop-motion short from 1987, based on the Gorman Gast series of books. The sky. He wants to fly. Oh, is the floor gone? It just... Oh, look at him. Is he trapped? No. I mean, you missed your chance to stab him to death there if you really do want him dead. Okay. I regret suggesting that. Okay, chef's dead. Awful. Oh, it's tragic, isn't it? Oh, he's actually flat. Oh! Oh! I know he's trying to stop him. Don't go, Earl. It's not safe out there. There's big spiders. Can't remember what happens to him now. I have seen all of the things we're watching today in full, but... Oh, his silhouette is like properly bird-like now. Has he just become a bird? I think that's it. So, if you want more from that world, go and read the Gorman Gast books. Based on the novel Titus Grown by Mervyn Peake, and it was adapted by Niall Leonard. Well, I hope you're all sufficiently disgusted by what we've just watched. Was horrid, wasn't it? Well, how about we move on now from something that is kind of revolting and upsetting in that way to something that is more sort of traumatic and, you know, really quite... Well, yeah, traumatic, I think is the word. We're going to start with... We're going to watch two clips now from an animated feature-length film from 1982. Traditional animation, we're talking now, hand-drawn. Made by a British production company. We've watched one of these clips on a previous Halloween watch-along. Some of you will already be able to guess what I'm talking about. But we're going to watch a second clip from it as well. We're going to watch them back-to-back, I think. I recently watched this film in full for the first time and was shocked and appalled by... No, appalled makes it sound like I don't approve. I very much approve of the harrowing film we're about to see, or clips from it. Let's go, shall we? The moral of the story is anything is possible. I suppose, in a way, yeah. And if you rearrange the letters of Earl, you get bird. that is true, of course. As you can now already see on screen, we're watching 2 clips from The Plague Dogs, 1982. For the first clip, you don't need any context, really, but I'll give you context. It's quite a quiet beginning of this clip, so I'll tell you what's going on here. Second clip, a bit more context is required. This happens midway through the story. This dog and another have escaped from a nearby animal testing lab. He's got a scar on his head, you see, from where he's been tested on.
Come on, then.
They're in the Lake District. A lot of the locals are aware that there are 2 dogs on the run who've come from a medical lab. There is a suspicion they might have bubonic plague, because there is testing happening in the lab on the plague. As it turns out, they don't have the plague, but
come on, boy.
They've been killing sheep and stuff to get by because they're starving. But this guy's going to rescue this dog. I know he's just grabbing his. He's not going to shoot it. If you listen, he says, "Who's done that to you?" You know. So he doesn't know this is a bad dog. Well, they're not bad dogs, but.
Come on, then. Yes, that's it. Come on, boy. Come on.
Oh.
That's it, fella. Come on, up we go.
In the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, this film was released with a PG rating. That stands for parental guidance. It means that adults may wish to check the film before showing it to their children, but you know, anyone can watch this. It's fine. So the dogs spend time trying to get by out in the hills of sort of Cumbria, and they take to killing sheep and eating sheep because they're hungry. You know, they're just 2 dogs that have been experimented on and have managed to escape and are now really, really hungry. Because they are killing livestock, and the authorities actually work out roughly what may have happened there based on footprints. So they also know that they're accidentally responsible for the death of a man who shot himself in the face. Because of those things, and that they might be carrying bubonic plague, although they're not, they decide that they need to be taken down, and they send out a hunter to track them and kill them. And he soon manages to do so because it starts to snow. They're freezing to death. They're leaving footprints, easy to track, and they are starving. The sheep have all been taken in off the hills now that winter has come around. So there are no sheep available for them to eat. They're hungry dogs. Can we cancel this show, please? I don't like the sad dogs. Spoilers, we're not about to see a dog die, alright? Just so in case anyone's worried that we're going to see a dog be killed or even injured, a dog is not about to be killed, alright? Don't have no fear. Yes. No, there will be no animal death here. There may be other trauma, though, as we've just seen earlier. This fox is a Geordie, by the way. When he talks to the dogs, he's like, "What are yous doing up here, like? Ah, I suppose you've come from that testing lab nearby, have you? Right, well, I'll help you understand how it works out here. I'm a wild animal, you see." You know, he sort of teaches them. He's a streetwise fox. He sort of comes and goes, so sometimes he's with them, sometimes he's not. He kind of occasionally sort of, he doesn't quite betray them, but he always looks out for himself. And then he'll you know, they'll be on their own for a while and struggling to get by, and then he'll sort of reappear. And at the moment, they don't know he's there. He happens to be tracking this hunter, and the dogs don't know that the fox is even around.
Who'd have thought, Ralph? We won't need food when we're dead. Or names, for that matter.
I think it's John Hurt.
God. I wonder who the buzzers will like best. You or me? I hope you make sure we're properly dead before you start, old Ripbeak.
I'd rather die here than in the White Coat's tank. It's little enough dignity we've got left.
Uh-oh. Ooh. Oh, he fell and died. Fox is pretty pleased about it. That's the first of 3 Fox-related attacks we're going to see today. Now, that's not the traumatic bit, alright? That man falling and dying, that's not the traumatic bit. This part, when the film was released in the USA, not with a PG rating, this was removed from the US version of the film.
Going out in weather like this? You should have known better. Even the best don't get caught out up here. There's some tracks down below. What are they? It looks like 2 sets of animal tracks and footprints. I'll follow them.
I'll follow them.
What's that up ahead? By the base of Dow Crag. Can you get closer?
Paused it there. The implication being the very, very, very hungry dogs did what hungry dogs would probably do in that situation. Oh, all right. That's lovely, isn't it? That's good. Yeah, dogs gotta eat, you know? Dogs gotta eat. We're now going to... Should we watch a bit more? Should we watch the conclusion of the Pied Piper? Let's do that, shall we? Let's do that. So here's where we left him, having a little snooze. We've got a little bit less
Friendly Ghost
on this half than we had.
Happy 420 BBBB blazed, my dudes.
Oh, Piper.
Here are some jokes
The Piper's
that will
arrived.
hopefully not drown in a river. Which martial art do rodents practice? Karate. Ha ha ha. What will a rat never tell you? A squeakret. Hi-e. Why should you never trust rodents? They always rat you out. Ho ho ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
What do you call a rodent that steals your dessert? A pirate. Ha-oo-oo. What's the name of a famous rat philosopher? Socrates. Hi-hoo. What did the rat get arrested for? Rat-keteering. Ha-oe. Moggy Lord wrote these.
Ha-oe. Moggy Lord B wrote these. Did you write them all? Goodness
Friendly
me.
Ghost
BBBBBBBBB piper BBBBBBBB rodent BBBBBBB rats BBBBBB stones BBBBBBB phobia BBBBBBB Pied Piper of Stone Rats blaze it.
Indeed. Thank you for blazing it, everyone. I hope you've got your pipes ready at home for the blazing and such. Sock rat is. Indeed. Yeah, more weird rhyming. I hope you're all sufficiently scared, traumatized, upset, creeped out, unnerved, and other such words so far. I hope it's all going as I intended. Thank you, Trailing Badger, in fact. Did I just thank Lord... I just assumed because it said Lord B wrote these at the end. I thought it was Lord Brotovich giving 100 bits. It was Trailing Badger. So very sorry if I thanked the wrong person. And 100 bits there from Stephen Skodes. Thank you to you too for blazing it. He wrote them but got spooked by the telly and ran away, so I posted them. Fantastic. Thank you, Trailing Badger, for your bits there. We will resume. We've got just a little bit less of this. We've got uneven halves, is what I'm saying. So this is going to be a little bit less than the first half that we watched. And then we've got a couple more things to watch too, which will be lovely. I also just want to shout out, what have you had for your tea? Man and chips. Which, you know, that's great. I love it. I can't even find where it was. I was sort of scrolling, trying to find it before there we go. Dr. Goblin said it, indeed. What have you had for your tea? Man and chips. You can flip and smell it. Good. Well, Chip Thompson's thumb's feeling suitably traumatized. That's good to know. Let's be further traumatized by the scarier bit of the Pied Piper story, the bit where he nicks off with some kids. Slept out under the sun, under the moon, under the stars. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Rub those eyes. Big stretch. He's done his job. Everyone's happy. They're all celebrating. And he's gonna go and get his payment.
You should have heard the Hamlin people ringing the bells till they rocked the steeple.
So pleased. So as I said earlier, this has been AI remastered, which, you know, as we saw with the web, the Gormenghast creepy one, that was quite grainy. It had all the artifacts. It had a bit of fuzz to it. I think it was 360p. In a lot of ways, that is the best way to watch these things. I think it adds a lot to the creepy factor. However, I was kind of between a rock and a hard place with the Pied Piper. We either had this AI remastered version, which looks fine, but it's just not quite true to the experience, you know. Or on the other hand, I could have the other version I had was like really actually quite degraded, and I didn't think it was going to be good for watching for half an hour on stream. So I went with the AI version. But generally, I would recommend trying to find, you know, as early a version as you can of hard media of these things. You know, if you can find a DVD rather than a Blu-ray, that is often in some ways more true to the original than a sort of a not very nicely remastered Blu-ray. Or if you can find a VHS that isn't really old and degraded, you know, that's, in a way, that's another good way to watch these things. But to each his own.
Get long poles, poke out the nests, and block up the holes. Consult with carpenters and builders, and leave in our town not even a trace of the rats. Then suddenly up the face of the piper perked in the marketplace with
Hey.
First, if you please, my 1,000 guilders.
Hey, the Piper. He only wants 1,000.
1,000 guilders. The mayor looked blue.
Not 50,000,
So did the
which you promised at one
corporation, too.
point.
For council dinners made rare havoc with claret, moselle, vin de grave, hock.
Oh.
And half the money would replenish their cellar's biggest butt with Rhenish. To pay this sum to a wandering fellow with a gypsy coat of red and yellow.
Oh.
Besides,
Apologies.
quoth the mayor with a knowing wink.
I mean, they are the
Done
baddies,
at the
so...
river's brink. We saw with our eyes the vermin sink, and what's dead can't come to life, I think.
Uh-oh.
So, friend, we're not the folks to shrink from the duty of giving you something for drink, and a matter of money to put in your poke. But as for the guilders, what we spoke of them, as you very well know, was in joke.
A joke.
Beside, our losses have made us thrifty. 1,000 guilders. Come. Take 50. The piper's
Oh, he's cross
face
now.
fell, and he cried, "No trifling. I can't wait. Beside, I've promised to visit by dinner time Baghdad and accept the prime of the head cook's pottage, all he's rich in. For having left in the caliph's kitchen of a nest of scorpions no survivor, with him I proved no bargain driver. with you, don't think I'll bait a stiver. And folks who put me in a passion may find me pipe after another fashion.
Oh.
Oh, cried the mayor. D'you think I brook being worse treated than a cook? Insulted by a lazy ribald with idle pipe and vesture piebald? You threaten us, fellow? Do your worst. Blow your pipe there till you burst.
He may just do that. I believe the phrase "pay the piper" is only dubiously sort of sourced from this story. I think it's one theory that it does come from, pay the piper. Make sure you pay the Pied Piper, otherwise he will get mad at you and do bad things. But I think there's some other kind of potential origin for more, just paying minstrels or musicians or something along those lines. Anyway, I was going to say, Forgotten Media, traveling from Hamlin to Baghdad in one day in the Middle Ages would be some feat, but I think, the idea is that this guy is not quite of this world.
Or he stepped into the street, and to his lips again laid his long pipe of smooth, straight cane.
Uh-oh.
And ere he blew 3 notes, such sweet, soft notes as yet musicians' cunning never gave the enraptured air. There was a rustling that seemed like a bustling of merry crowds justling and pitching and hustling. Small feet were pattering, wooden shoes clattering, little hands clapping and little tongues chattering. And like fowls in a farmyard when barley is scattering, out came the children running.
Off they go.
All the little boys and girls with rosy cheeks and flaxen curls and sparkling eyes
faces,
and teeth like pearls, tripping and skipping ran merrily after the wonderful music with shouting and laughter.
Off they go.
Council stood as if they were changed into blocks of wood, unable to move a step
anything
or cry. To the children merrily skipping by, could only follow with the eye that joyous crowd at the piper's back. But how the mare was on the rack and the wretched consul's bosoms beat.
I wonder where they are going.
Turned from the high street to where the Weser rolled its waters, right in the way of their sons and daughters.
In they go.
However, he turned from south to west and to Koppelberg Hill his steps addressed.
Up to
and
Koppelberg
after him
Hill.
the children pressed.
I believe there is a version, or there are versions of this story, perhaps I think older ones, where the piper he just drowns the children. He makes them get in the river and they drown. Not now, not in this one, and not in most tellings. Actually, this is what typically tends to happen. He takes them to the hill, and a strange. Well, we'll see what happens to them.
Great was the joy in every breast. He never can cross that mighty top. He's forced to let the piping drop, and we shall see our children stop.
Oh, he thinks he can't possibly climb the hill, so...
When lo, as they reached the mountainside, a wondrous portal opened wide, as if a cavern was suddenly hollowed. And the piper advanced, and the children followed.
So this is the traditional version, is that the piper went to the hill, and a sort of a cave or a hole opened in the side of the hill. He wandered in, took the kids with him, and it closed behind him. Of course, the strangest and the creepiest thing about this is it's based in some way, shape, or form on a kernel of truth. Of course, there was not a magical piper man, who enchanted children and took them into a portal in the side of a hill. But something does appear to have happened in medieval Hamelin, where all of the children were lost in a very short space of time, perhaps all in one go, or perhaps in a short space of time. Might have been, there's all sorts of theories. Could have been disease. They could have been kind of conscripted into a military force. Maybe they were taken by someone.
And when all were in to the very last, the door in the mountainside shut.
Oh, and this is the sad bit. This also is a common motif in various versions of the story. It doesn't always appear, but
Did I say all?
Most versions have this. Tear-jerking
Did I
bit.
say all?
Keep talking over that line.
No.
Did I say all? Every time he tries to say that, I'm say something else.
Did I say all? No, one was lame, and could not dance the whole of the way. And in after years, if you would blame his sadness, he was used to say, "It's dull in our town since my playmates left. I can't forget that I'm bereft of all the pleasant sights they see, which the piper also promised me. For he led us, he said, to a joyous land, joining the town and just at hand, where waters gushed and fruit trees grew and flowers put forth a fairer hue, and everything was strange and new. The sparrows were brighter than peacocks here, and their dogs outran our fallow deer. And honeybees had lost their stings, and horses were born with eagles' wings. And just as I became assured my lame foot would be speedily cured, the music stopped, and I stood still, and found myself outside the hill, left alone against my will, to go now limping as before, and never hear of that country more. Alas, alas for Hammond.
Man.
There came into many a burgher's pate a text which says that heaven's gate opes to the rich at as easy rate as the needle's eye takes a camel in.
A land
The
with
mares
people who
in
pay for
east,
their
west,
labours,
north,
yeah.
and south, to offer the piper by word of mouth, wherever it was men's lot to find him, silver and gold to his heart's content, if he'd only return the way he went and bring the children behind him. But when they saw 'twas a lost endeavour, and piper and dancers were gone forever, they made a decree that lawyers never should think their records dated duly, if after the day of the month and year these words did not as well appear. And so long after what happened here on the 22nd of July, 1376. And the better in memory to fix the place of the children's last retreat, they called it the Pied Piper's Street. But anyone playing on pipe or tabor was sure for the future to lose his labour, nor suffered they hostelry or tavern to shock with mirth a street so solemn. But opposite the place of the cavern, they wrote the story on a column, and on the great church window painted the same, to make the world acquainted how their children were stolen away. And there it stands to this very day.
It's true.
And I must not omit to say that in Transylvania there's a tribe of alien people who ascribe the outlandish ways and dress on which their neighbours lay such stress to their fathers and mothers having risen out of some subterraneous prison into which they were trepanned long time ago in a mighty band out of Hamelin town in Brunswick land. But how or why they don't understand.
That also,
So,
I believe, is partly based in fact. I'm sure someone did a study, and realize that somewhere in they say Romania in the animation here. I can't remember. I think it's somewhere in Eastern Europe. That strangely there's a lot of surnames that you find in Hamlin and in that region, and it's assumed that perhaps there was some kind of emigration event where children or families went from Hamlin to somewhere in Eastern Europe. That seems to be what may have happened. The truth of it. I'm trying to find the what it actually says. Oh yeah, here we go. In the year, so at the town gate in Hamlin, dating to the year 1556, the oldest surviving sculptural evidence for the legend bears the following inscription: in the year 1556. 272 years after the magician stole 130 children from the city, this gate was founded. So in 1556, they were saying that 270 years ago, their children were taken away. Very strange.
Let me and you be wipers of scores out with all men, especially pipers. And whether they pipe us free from rats or from mice, if we've promised them aught, let us keep our promise.
He did promise him the lovely flowers and the magical land. He brought him a flower. I believe you also promised to cure his leg, though. So anyway. Despite the creepy story, the creepy presentation, I think that's a really nice little piece of art there. I think the music's great. I think the writing is great. I believe it's based on a pre-existing poem version of the story that was just selected as the one that they were going to use for this animation. But there you go. That's the 1980 1980 version of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. That is also available on YouTube to watch in full. So if you ever want to watch it again, go and give it a go. It's by Cosgrove Hall, who did the there you go, Brian Cosgrove and Mark Hall. Cosgrove Hall did The Wind in the Willows, the stop motion version of that. They did Okie Doke. They've done all sorts. Cosgrove Hall, they're brilliant. Support your local piper, indeed. But we're still not done. We've got 2 more things to watch. Yeah, that's right. It's very exciting. I'm now going to... We've got one thing. We've got a fairly short stop motion thing, and we've got a classic hand-drawn animation thing to watch. So I guess rather than go from one stop motion to the next, we'll do some hand-drawn stuff next. How much of this do we have time for? Because we don't have time for all of it. We'll have to skim through some of this, but that's fine. Even when I decided to show this, I thought there's probably too much of it, but I've brought plenty of it, and we'll do a little skim. So I grew up on the animated...
You will never hatch your own eggs, Jemima, you silly duck. I wish, nay, intend to hatch my own
Beatrix
eggs,
Potter
but the farmer's wife has forbidden
adaptations.
it.
I believe it's officially
I've got
called
patience to sit on a nest
The
for 20
World of
ages,
Peter
and
Rabbit
nor
and
have you,
Friends was
Jemima.
the whole series of
You would let them
animations
go
that they
cold,
did.
you
Did
know
about
you
8
would.
different episodes where they adapted Beatrix Potter's stories in a beautiful style, I think, that matches very much her illustration style that she used to do in the books.
I will hatch them all by myself. If I have to make
And
a
I've
nest
brought along
right
2
away from the
episodes
barn,
here where these anthropomorphic animals who wear people clothes and sometimes live in actual houses and things in the Lake District, look how lovely it is, are at risk of being eaten and are about to be eaten
Now then,
alive or dead.
the far wood looks a safe, secluded spot.
So the story here is that Jemima Puddle Duck is not permitted to lay and hatch her own eggs in the farmyard. The farmer, for some reason, takes duck eggs and puts them under a broody chicken. I think he or she just doesn't trust the ducks to hatch the eggs properly or something. Well, and also having had poultry in my family, my grandparents had chickens. You don't necessarily want your ducks or chickens to be sitting on eggs, because then they won't lay any more. So if you've got the ducks and chickens because you want them to be laying eggs, ideally you don't actually want them saying, "Oh, I'm not going to lay anymore, I'm going to hatch these out." So that'll be why she's not permitted. I've just gone back here because I love this little harpsichord motif as you see the fox come into frame. I think it's a harpsichord. It might be a guitar, but I think it's a harpsichord. Just a little strum. I think it's nice. It kind of immediately tells you, this fellow is perhaps not.
Aha! Now that little clearing might be just the place.
Here we go. Oh, there he is, Mr. Todd. How does her bonnet stay on while she's flying? Is that Sue Pollard voicing Jemima? I don't know if it might be.
Oh dear.
But there's an all-star cast.
Yes, dry, unsecluded, prime requirements at the very least.
So
perhaps between the roots of this.
Madam, have you lost your way?
No. Oh, no, on the contrary, or quite the contrary. The most civil of you to inquire. No, it concerns the nest.
The nest? Oh, dear lady, where?
To be more exact, the nesting place. I am trying to find a really convenient, dry nesting place so that I may sit on my eggs.
Is that so, indeed?
Of course, foxes like eggs, ducklings, ducks, and she's a naive. This is very much a sort of Little Red Riding Hood, Stranger Danger moral tale. She doesn't know what a fox is or the dangers she's in.
But surely the farmyard.
Yes.
Tory fox, yeah.
That would be the very place.
But no.
One cannot call one's eggs one's own. That infuriating hen. She truly believes that she is the only one with the patience to hatch a clutch of eggs. Well, really.
Indeed, how interesting. I wish I could meet with that fowl. I would teach it to mind its own business.
I love that when she says one cannot call one's eggs one's own, he can't help but salivate. It's like proper Pavlovian. Watch, he's trying to play it cool, and he goes.
I think that would be the very place.
But no.
One cannot call one's eggs one's own. That infuriating.
Anyway, so he says, well, why don't you come to my woodshed?
My winter house. So convenient by half.
He says, I've got a sack full of feathers that might be handy for a nest. He has a lot of feathers. And I think you have to wonder why he has so many feathers. Does he break the fourth wall there? Does he look down the lens? He does.
Goodness, I've never seen so many feathers in one place. There must be sufficient for filling at least 2 quilts. Very comfortable, though, and perfect for making my nest so warm, so dry.
So, she says, thanks very much. It's a great place for a nest. She lays some eggs. And she continues to...
Must you go? surely.
No. I've imposed on your hospitality quite far enough. And already the others will be wondering what has kept me away from the yard so late. But I shall return to lay more eggs tomorrow.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, more eggs. Oh, of course, dear lady.
Now I'm certain I couldn't leave the care of my nest in better hands.
Absolutely. Oh, nothing I like better than eggs and ducklings. I should be proud to see a fine nestful in my woodshed. Oh, what could be a finer sight?
Boring Learner is having a flashback. I definitely saw this when I was a wee lad.
Patience, patience, my friend. Ooh, patience.
Jemima Puddleduck came every afternoon. She laid 9 eggs in the nest. They were greeny white and very large. The foxy gentleman admired them immensely. He used to turn them over and count them when Jemima was not there.
Oh.
So I shall return tomorrow when I intend to sit my eggs, and I will bring a bag of corn with me, so that I need never leave my nest until the eggs are hatched. They might catch cold.
Madam, I beg you not to trouble yourself with a bag. I will provide oats. But before you commence your tedious sitting, I intend to give you a treat. Let us have a dinner party all to ourselves.
Oh, what
I love Sorry Fox.
splendid idea.
He's great.
Oh, how kind, how thoughtful.
May I
Listen
ask
to this.
you to bring up some herbs from the farm garden to make a savory omelette? Sage and thyme and mint and 2 onions. Oh, and some parsley. I will provide lard for the stuffing. Lard for the omelette.
Sage, thyme, mint, parsley, and onions from the kitchen. Yes.
Don't worry if you're not following.
Jemima Puddleduck was a simpleton.
Oh.
She quite unsuspectingly went round nibbling snippets off all the different sorts of herbs that are used for stuffing roast duck.
Uh-oh. She's collecting stuffing. Anyway, we'll skim through. So, this is Beatrix Potter's actual dog, Kep. He featured in a couple of the stories.
What are you doing with those onions?
He catches her.
Where do you go every afternoon by yourself, Jemima Puddleduck?
She explains that there's an elegant gentleman with a bushy tail who has said you can come and use my woodshed for a nest, and he says, "Oh, really? Okay." And he decides that he's going to put a stop to this.
Kep had no doubt who the sandy-whiskered gentleman was, so made haste to find the 2 foxhound puppies who were out at walk with the butcher.
Some foxhounds. So off she goes, and the dogs are following her.
I believe I've managed to find all the ingredients you required. I've got
Come into the house as soon as you have looked at your eggs.
He can't wait much longer.
Give me the herbs for the omelette. Be sharp. Yes. Everything is here.
Now, as much as he's the baddie, right? I've always liked foxes. And the creepy thing that's going on here is that she's preparing her own death, right? She's going to be eaten by this fox. That is scary. But the thing that used to scare me most, or almost in a kind of what would the word be? Feeling scared for someone else, you know, like in a kind of having the empathy, I guess, or empathy is not really the right word, but feeling fear for someone else. In a moment, you will see the foxhounds turn up at this fox's house, and they are outside his door, and they bark, and there's this like 1 second shot. It's a really quick shot. It zooms in on the fox's face in his house, and he knows the sound of dogs barking and foxhounds. He knows what's about to happen to him, and the fear that they animate into his eyes and onto his face used to like. That was the scariest part for me, is that he is so frightened. I didn't used to care that much that Jemima's gonna get eaten as a roast duck. Very, very pro fox hunting, very Tory indeed. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big anti-fox hunter for one thing, so maybe that's why I felt such empathy for Mr. Fox. I mean, he's about to eat a walking, talking duck wearing a bonnet, so he's not the best. But, you know, foxes have to eat out in the wild, don't they? As I say, we had chickens when I was younger. You had to be careful the fox didn't get them. But if it had done, I wouldn't have blamed it. But look at the fear on this fox's face. It used to just creep me out so much.
What is this?
Oh.
What's going on?
It actually like sends tingles down my spine every time I watch him. The gasp and his ears go down and the fear in his eyes. My God. The moral of this story for me is not careful, stranger danger. It's that fox hunting is bad.
What is this?
Oh,
what shall I do?
Suddenly I feel bad for Tory Fox. He's on all fours now. There's this very strange setup in the Beatrix Potter stories where sometimes animals are animals, sometimes they have clothes on, sometimes they can transition from one to the other.
Oh, curse you!
Off he goes. Incidentally, also the Lake District, so he might be, instead of Tory Fox,
And I think
maybe he becomes Geordie Fox now, and he goes and helps out 2 plague dogs.
that's the last we shall see of that foxy whiskered gentleman.
Unfortunately, it doesn't go well for Jemima. Not all is saved. Oh no.
Oh dear.
Oh, my head.
There, Jemima. I'm afraid it's just in the nature of things.
Indeed. Well, so is
Let's make
Fox
our way
eating
home
dog,
to the
eating
farmyard.
duck, not dog.
Where you belong, my dear.
It's just in the nature of things. So Beatrix Potter, who's the narrator we're hearing, I mean, it's not actually the real Beatrix Potter, obviously, but she's already shaded Jemima Puddleduck for being a simpleton once, and this is the ending she gave Jemima. Not quite this, what we've seen now. There's more to come, but this is the ending that she chose.
Jemima Puddleduck was escorted home in tears on account of those eggs. She laid some more in June.
Great!
And she was permitted to keep them herself.
Brilliant!
But only 4 of them hatched.
Oh, alright. It's sort of a happy ending, but only 4 of them. I mean, it's probably based, I think it will be based on a real duck that Beatrix Potter had, because most of her stories were about animals that she knew. So up next, I've brought along, and we're not going to watch all of this because it's now already, it's 7 p.m, but we'll watch just a few clips of this. This is the tale of Pigling Bland.
Called Aunt Pettytoes.
Aunt Pettytoes. You know, a pig woman in a dress has all these little actual quadruped piglets who are eating food out of a trough.
She had 8 of a family, 4 little girl pigs called Crosspatch, Suck-Suck, Yop-Yop and Spot, and 4 little boy pigs called Alexander, Pigling Bland, Chin-Chin and Stumpy. Stumpy had an accident to his tail.
Oh dear.
The 8 little pigs had very fine appetites.
She's voiced by Pam Ferris,
They eat, and indeed they do eat.
who I love. I love Pam Ferris.
Come out of there this instant.
Jemima, the moron, just had to learn that things don't always work out, and you need to learn that too, young child. Indeed.
Oh, dear me. Now they've all run off. Oh, I do believe I can't be coping much longer with my unruly brood.
That's Beatrix Potter's house there, Hilltop. It's just near there is where I proposed to my wife, actually. Isn't that nice? But we're about to see a really, writ large, the strange setup of... This seems to be a pig woman who lives in a human house with human clothes on. But look what problem she's presented with now and her solution.
Oh, they are indeed becoming a burden and a worry. Oh, I have turmoil enough already with it being wash day. And they drink bucketfuls of milk. I shall have to get another cow. Yes. Good little Spot shall stay at home to do the housework, but the others must go. There will be more to eat without them, of course.
There'll be more to eat without them, and there'll be more for other people to eat. There's a man carting off 2 piglets there because she's got too many, and she's sending them off. Also, she will have to get another cow. Does the cow wear clothes? Do you milk the cat? What is going on here? Do you milk the cow? Does the cow wear it? And these are 2 of her piglets. They're wearing their Sunday best. The others were just naked in a wheelbarrow. And I've done some Googling to try and work out exactly what she means by what she's about to do with these boys. And I've not yet worked it out. I don't quite know. I have my suspicions, and I hope I'm wrong, but...
Blow. Now, Pigling Bland, you must go to market. You too, Alexander. Do stand still. How can I brush your coat if you don't stand still? Here are 2 licenses permitting 2 pigs to go to market in Lancashire. Attend, Alexander.
Now, this is a real thing. If you were taking your pigs, your livestock to market to probably be bought by a butcher, or maybe they're stud pigs and they're off to have piglets somewhere, but you would have to get licenses to transport your pigs across the counties. So she is seemingly... A couple of them have been sent away in a wheelbarrow by a human being. These 2 have to walk themselves to market, possibly like pigs to the slaughter. It's piglet trafficking. She's selling her kids. This stream is really reinforcing my veganism, says Trillian Jones. And yes, they're going to Lancashire. I know that's the scariest part of it all, isn't it? So I think, my understanding is, unless they're possibly going off to be boars, BOARs, in another pig farm and just have baby pigs for the rest of their lives, it seems to me she's sending them off to be turned into sausages. And they're kind of all right with this. And she wears clothes and lives in Beatrix Potter's house.
Miss Potter's had no end of trouble in getting these papers from the policeman. Beware of hen roosts, bacon and eggs, and mind your Sunday clothes. And remember, if you once cross the county boundary, you cannot come back. Alexander, you are not attending. Take the hand of your brother, Pigling Bland. There, sons, I almost forgot. Take these 8 conversation peppermints. A special treat. Do heed the moral sentiments on them. And you'll come to no harm. So uplifting.
They're little love heart sweets, essentially, is what they are. Conversation sweeties where they have little bits of writing on them, and you just read it. Oh, what have you got? Oh, this one says, pork me, or whatever. So they go wandering off. A policeman comes along and checks their licenses. We'll watch this scene because I just like it. It's not creepy.
Son stole a pig and away he ran, and all the tune that he could play was over the hills and far away. Tom, Tom, the piper's son, stole a pig and away. Oh.
What's that, young sir?
Oh, it's a bit creepy.
Stole a pig? Where are your licenses?
It calms down after that. I didn't know he did that. The musical sting. What's that, young sirs?
Son stole a pig and away. Oh.
What's that, young sirs? Stole a pig? Where are your licenses?
So they hand their licenses over.
There you are, Mr. Policeman. I knew it was somewhere.
What's this? 2.5 conversation suites at 3 farthings? This ain't a licence.
Pigs talking to a pig,
I
says
had
Puck
one.
Wheelie.
Indeed, I had, Mr. Policeman.
It's not likely they'd let you start without. I'm passing the farm. You may walk with me.
Can I come back too?
I see no reason, young sir. Your paper's all right.
So,
But I don't want to go all on my own.
Pigling Bland is now going off to market all on his own.
Market town. I shall never reach it by nightfall. I cannot bear the thought of market. I never wanted to go in the first place. All those crowds, to be stared at, prodded, touched, then hired by some big strange farmer.
Oh, hired. Okay. Hired by a farmer. For what?
All I ever wanted was to have a little garden of my own and grow potatoes. What's this? Alexander's license! Oh, I might just overtake them. Alexander! Wait! Mr. Policeman, I found it! The license! Alexander!
God, it's getting dark.
Alexander! Wee, wee, wee!
Wee wee.
I can't find my way home.
This shot when he looks up to the trees used to really freak me out. Ugh. Freaking away. So he now tries to find somewhere to bed down for the night.
To rest for the night.
Thank you.
Shelter from this wind. Ooh, I'm wet through and through.
He gets into a hen house.
Excuse me, ma'am, if I might be permitted. I'm afraid it is only a hen house, but what can I do? I must leave no later than daybreak. I fear this is no safe haven for a little pig.
No, as we'll find out.
Wonderful. I can begin to feel my trotters again. So warm. So comfortable.
Uh-oh.
Now, 6 should be enough. Come on! I need 6 of you fowl to take to market in the morning, so,
The market?
No! Here's another!
So this man has found the pig. We can't watch all of this. I'll have to skim through. But he's decided, what am I? I've come into a pig here.
Be quiet, will you?
It seemed to Pigling that something at the further end of the kitchen was taking a suppressed interest in the cooking. Mr. Piperson poured out 3 platefuls. For himself, for Pigling, and a third.
Get that down, you, and be quiet.
When he picked up Pigling Bland in the hen house, you may have heard him say, "Hello, here's another." And he's actually got another pig that he's also found that's shut in a cupboard at the moment. So that's what the third bowl of porridge is for. Look.
Now it says here, but then... It's too late in the season for curing bacon.
For curing bacon? It's too late in the season.
Oh, God. So this pig in people clothes that can speak, that he's talking to, and we know that humans and pigs can speak to each other.
You may sleep on the rug.
We know they can speak because to each other.
I'll say good night to you then.
All right. Because he spoke to the policeman. So that is an actual anthropomorphic pig in a jacket. He's prodding his back and deciding whether to turn him into bacon or not. Anyway,
Well, now, what have you been up to? How's Mr. Piggy Wiggy then, eh? Eh?
I must admit to being a little hungry.
Oh, a little hungry, are we? You feel nice and fat to me. Hey? Well then, I'd better fix some supper for us, and I now, Mr. Piggy.
It's so weird that he's anthropomorphized and the guy is wanting to eat him. Apparently I worded something badly earlier. Dan Lockie said, "Excuse me," and D. Lodge said, "Peter, I would not word it like that." I don't know what I said, but hey, this makes me feel uncomfortable. He's like a perv. Yeah, so we can't really spend much time watching the rest, but
Well, I'm needing my bed.
The long and short is this man wants to turn Pigling Bland into bacon, but Pigling Bland finds the other pig. They run away, and they have a lovely time. There they go.
Now, Pigwig.
Hey, hooray!
Hooray! So it all ends up nice. So perhaps just to send us off, a very short clip now. Just to, because I don't want you ending on that, feeling all happy and warm for Halloween. You simply must go away feeling terrified. And if I've not yet upset you enough with stop motion, in fact, I've got two things to show you, but they're both very short. So we have here a full version, actually, of The Sandman from 1991. Nothing to do with Neil Gaiman's Sandman. It's simply a stop motion, I think claymation, actually, animation. I simply do not have time to show you all of this, but I should show you at least a little bit of it because he was in the thumbnail for the stream. A little boy is banging his drum, annoying his mother. I believe this is British. It looks a little bit kind of Eastern European in terms of the animation style, but I think it is a British animation. It's bedtime, and she's very glad about it. The boy goes up to bed. Again, it's all quite sort of little nightmares. The proportions are all strange. And, of course, Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. You know when you get tired and your eyes feel itchy? It's because the Sandman has come to put sand on your eyes. But in this world, he's treated as something of a bogeyman. If you don't go to sleep, the Sandman will get you. And rest assured, in the world of stop motion, there he is, stop motion creepy shorts, you know full well the Sandman will get you. Nosy Bonk has got nothing on this guy. This guy's got the chin to match. He's more Jack Frost looking. Yeah, I know. So I would recommend watching this in full and getting the full atmospheric experience, but if the Sandman puts sand in your eyes, does the bogeyman do what I think he does? Oh, I certainly hope not. So the boy is scared of the Sandman, and, who can blame him? Sandman comes into the room. Oh, yeah, Mummy comes to say it's all okay. But it's not. It's like a stag beetle on its side. Oh, it's a bad walking animation, isn't it? Looks like Jim Carrey. Oh, stomp. Oh, is he trying to wake him up? Maybe he can only get you if you're not sleeping. You know, it's like parents trying to tell you you simply must go to sleep. I think the idea is, oh yeah, that's it. I think the Sandman wants your eyes. And that's why you have to be asleep with your eyes shut. You'll be fine if you just go to sleep as Mummy tells you. But this Sandman will stop at nothing to get the eyes that he wants. Don't open them. Don't do it. He's got the sand. No! Popped in his bag. Off he goes. This is the one thing where I'm like, I'm not sure if this one was for kids. I think it probably was sort of PG. Everything else, though, that we've watched is definitely PG. Why does the Sandman want the eyes? Well, obviously, to feed his little sand chicks. Yeah. Yum yum. Eat up. Big reveal. I mean, I've spoiled it. He took the boy's eyes. Let's get the freeze frame. New profile picture for someone. I mean, here we are. The TripleJump Halloween watch-along streams. Thank you, everyone. It's not the end. I'm just saying, thanks for being here. I've got one more thing to show you, and it's the thing I've been probably most looking forward to. So please do stick with me. But there you go. Yum yum. Oh Christ! Oh, we're zooming into the eye hole. Okay, and then I believe the credits roll. Puppets and Sets by Colin Batty and co. Rostrum camera Peter Kidd. So the credits run, and then I'll just show you the very, very, very last shot of the credits. Oh my God, he can't see where he's going. Oh, he can feel something. There's something there. What is it? Turn the lights on. You're very welcome. I hope you all sleep very well. It's still not over, as I say. One more thing to show you. You couldn't just do an art stream, could you? Indeed. I dislike it so very much. Let's have the freeze frame, just what we need. Nightmare fuel. Indeed. Well, now, allow me to show you the scariest scene from something that is otherwise, I find quite, for the most part, quite charming, quite heartwarming. I've really enjoyed watching this. I discovered it about a year ago. Well, I'd seen clips of it a long time ago, but I kind of finally decided, oh, I should look into sourcing a copy of this show when I can. And I got my copy. It is from 1992, and it's called Truckers, based on the book by Terry Pratchett. It's stop motion, claymation, I think, but you can't always tell. Sometimes it looks like clay, but it is actually sort of a rubber skin and armature and stuff. But Truckers is great. It's about, well, we'll learn what it's about immediately. That wasn't the creepy bit, by the way. This is about little sort of urban gnomes, and trying to scrape a living in, by a motorway.
Tell us to not
skip through.
Mr. Mert.
So this guy comes out. He's sort of arguing with his friends. There's not enough food. I loved this as a child. I even had the accompanying Truckers book that I read repeatedly and actually still own in my mid-30s. It's lovely. It's charming. 3 of 3 foxes, says Jax. Yeah, indeed. Well, let's just see. So this is the very start of the first episode, and this is kind of the inciting incident that finally leads them to say, you know what? We're not going to stay here anymore on the side of the motorway where there's no food. There are hawks trying to get us. and it's just a load of litter and rats and stuff. And so the story is about them. They jump onto a lorry. That's partly why it's called Truckers. And they go into the town, and they go inside a department store. And that's what the story is all about. But what leads them? What's the straw that breaks the camel's back? And then you can decide whether you too would decide to get out. It implied that the fox ran out into the road, got hit by a car. But can we just listen not just to the growling noise that the fox makes while it's attacking, and the music and the everything else, but the screams of this man, this gnome who gets caught in its mouth. Let's just pay particular attention to the scream. So raw and real. Like they were in the voice acting booth and they were like, okay, this is for just Can you hear? Yeah, can you hear us? Okay, cool. Can you do some screams of a man? He's in the jaws of a predator. Obviously, keep in mind this is a sort of a PG stop motion story for children. So just kind of a help. It's something like that. If you could give us some of that, that would be really useful. That's perfect. That's just what we wanted. Thank you very much. We'll send that off to the editing department. Well, I hope you have all had a horrible Halloween with me watching these terrifying, traumatizing things. The way I had the order of things worked out in my head, I thought we were going to end up finishing on Beatrix Potter and we were going to watch Truckers earlier. And I thought, I can't end the stream on Pigling Bland and Pigwig, the little lady pig, skipping away singing Tom Tom the Piper's Son. We cannot end on that. So we've had a bit of Sandman. We've had the Fox number 3 of 3 devouring a gnome. And you know what? I still love foxes. I think they're great. And you know what? I don't mind that foxes have to eat. They have to eat. So that's it. Well, we will try and stick this on the VODs channel, and we'll have to see what happens. We may get copyright strikes or matches or whatever, and so we'll have to potentially take it down. But last year's is still on there, or it might be the year before. But one of them is still available, so we'll see how we get on. If we get a copyright match on any of this stuff, then, as I say, we'll have to take it down. But I think pretty much everything that I've shown today I have sourced from YouTube. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Just see what happens. But there we go. Thank you all for being here. I hope you've had a spooky time. And if you're celebrating Halloween this week on Thursday, if you're heading out trick-or-treating or going to a party or something like that, stay safe, be careful with wandering around in the dark, and so on and so forth. Yeah, well, we'll see you on Thursday, in fact, for the joint stream. Blaze it. Next week, in the new month, I will be I'll be back to streaming non-spooky things, and we'll probably play some Parcel Core, potentially, which is the game that myself, Ben, and Ashton have got some roles in. So you'll be able to hear me voice acting in a game that I'm playing on Twitch, which will be a very strange experience. Certainly I'm going to play that game at some point on stream, and I think, given that it came out about a month ago now, I probably should play that first before I move on to anything else. So probably Parcel Core next week, which I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I would have played it sooner on stream, sooner after its release, to sort of help them capitalize on the free advertising, except for the fact that it was spooky month, so I couldn't very well play a nice game where you cycle around on a bike, could I? No. So no Nosy Bonk this year, sorry, with the Halloween watch along, but hey, I didn't have time. There was no room for that nose. So how about we end on our own personal Nosy Bonk. Here he is, Mr. Bonk with his nose gaze. I know I showed this last week, but I just feel quite privileged to own my very own Nosy Bonk. And no one in the world owns one of these. They might own the Mini, because I believe that wasn't a custom job. It was actually just there are just Nosy Bonk Minis available out there. But hey, he's got his little greenhouse and he's got his nose gaze, and he had a lovely time. Everything I've shown today is probably fairly easily accessible on YouTube. You can't watch all of Truckers on YouTube, but I think almost everything else you can watch pretty much in full. So just skim back through the VOD. I mentioned all of the years of everything we've watched, the years of release of the shows and films that we've watched today. So you should be able to find those things on YouTube, or perhaps buy them on physical media from CEX. That's where I got my copy of Truckers from. So wonderful. Oh, thanks. Mum's had another heart attack. Sorry, D-Lodge. You know what? Mission accomplished is what I was trying to achieve. So that's gone well. All the best to you and all of your respective mums. And yes, stay safe on Halloween. We're going now. Thank you, everyone. Boo bye. Boo.